think so many men feel like the dating game is stacked against them right now?
God. Men are continued to be persuaded into selecting women who are signaling for short-term dating. And the reason that I say that is men, and this is proven across time, across cultures, they have discernment around short-term dating and mating versus long-term dating and mating. And the reason that that's important is women now, with the cultural changes, with feminism, with the influence of empowerment via promiscuity, they're all signaling for short-term mating strategies. And so men are attracted to these women. They'll sleep with these women. They certainly will come, but they don't stay. And so women say that they want long-term partners, and the expectation of men is to be everything that a long-term mate would be, but they're not signaling the right things for men to commit to, nor would they want to. And so now it's making men the enemy for not wanting to commit to women who are not up to the standards that men have when it comes to choosing a woman to commit to long-term. And so the confusion and the frustration for men is that there are not many viable mates as far as options when it comes to somebody that they could actually settle down with, commit to, and build a family with. And so the frustration for men is valid. They're not confused, they're wise. And women can either continue to attack men and say that they shouldn't have standards, or they're insecure, or they're controlling, or they're whatever they want to label them, to deflect any level of accountability or awareness around maybe their behavior or the way that they present themselves or how they carry themselves or their history with access and sexuality is not at all what men actually want nor look for when it comes to a woman to settle down with.
Women aren't furious because men are lonely. They're furious because men aren't desperate anymore.
This is a question for the men. If you're not a man, keep scrolling. Okay, so men, why are we hating women? Why are we hating women? I feel like women are hating men and men are now hating women. They don't want to get married. They don't want to live with them. They, they just want to be single forever. Like, what's going on here? Are all you men into men now? Like, what's going on? I'm so confused. I feel like we're creating a divide here, folks. Can we come back together? I love men. And I want men to start loving women again. Like, I don't know. What do we need to do? Let me know and I can try to get the congregation together and we could try to move forward so we can all start loving each other again. I don't know. What am I missing? Can you please fill me in? I'm very, 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 very confused. Okay, thanks.
Western men being comfortable as lifelong bachelors breaks the entire script. No panic. No rushing to settle. No begging for approval. Just men waking up, handling their business, and realizing that peace, freedom, and control over their own time beats a lifetime contract filled with moving goalposts.
He will marry out of necessity and cheat from sun up to sundown. An eternal bachelor will not stop being a bachelor even when he marries. I need you to really take that in. An eternal bachelor will not stop being a bachelor even when he marries. So many men, unfortunately, alarmingly, depressingly, actually marry out of necessity because they want kids and they know they need a wife to have kids, to at least be respectable. But they also go into their marriage with absolutely no intention of stopping their bachelor ways. They're just going to hide them. As a matter of fact, through the engagement and relationship they've probably been carrying on the whole time. There are some men out there that just are not wired for monogamy, don't have the maturity for monogamy. Take your pick, but they're never going to be monogamous, but they also can't be honest with themselves and other people that they need to be in a non-monogamy, open relationship type of situation. They're going to tell themselves, like, yeah, I'm going to try. But they really don't try that hard. They give up very easily. They fold, they go belly up really easily, and they just continue chasing tail. And the thing is this, you actually can tell who those men are going to be because you pay attention to past history. Past history is the best predictor of future behavior. If this is a guy who had sowed his wild oats in his 20s and 30s, you think he's all of a sudden going to stop, that he's had his fill? No, this is a guy who enjoys the strange, like they like to say. They need a variety. If they liked having a bunch of different women in their 20s and 30s, they're going to like having a bunch of different women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, etc. That's just how they are. If you know that they have cheated in past relationships on girlfriends, they're cheating on you, and they're going to continue cheating on you as long as you have them in your life. All of these things are tells. I don't care what they say. I really don't care what they say, unless they are saying that they've reformed their ways and you know that they have gone to therapy for a long time and they continue checking in with a therapist to keep themselves accountable and honest and work through their shit. And we know that's not a lot of men. So if he was a swinging bachelor, just know he's going to continue being a swinging bachelor regardless of that ring on his finger.
For decades, men were warned that if they didn't commit early, they'd end up miserable and alone. Funny how that prophecy didn't land. Instead, men discovered that bachelor life comes with quiet mornings, predictable finances, zero emotional audits, and the luxury of choosing when and if they engage. And once a man realizes solitude can be peaceful instead of painful, the leverage disappears.
So I think that this is a great opportunity to talk about passport bros and men going overseas to find partners and what this is really, really speaking to. So one, I have no qualms or problems with men going overseas to find a wife. You are a free person. You're a sovereign individual. You get to do whatever you want. I don't have any personal qualms with it. I think women overseas are great. I think marriages between people of different cultures is really great. I have no issue at all. However, what I want to speak about is that very often when men go abroad, when they go abroad to date a woman, what they're doing is they're often avoiding their patterns in relationships and thinking if they just go somewhere else, they will have a different experience. And it's sort of like when you're having problems where you live and you decide to move and then you experience the same problems, or you have the same patterns that come up in relationship, even though you're dating different people. It's essentially that you think if you just change your physical environment, that the patterns will change. But in reality, the patterns are something that you are experiencing inside of your body. And those patterns are just being pushed out, right? You are just the universe pushed out. So whatever you're experiencing, you're going to see externally. So you'll see in these shows specifically, the shows are great because you can see the sort of ins and outs, is these men go abroad thinking they're going to get this fantasy. And in reality, there are expectations that they have, right? There are expectations that women in Thailand have. There are expectations that women in the Middle East have that most people just don't know about. And so anytime you have a partnership or relationship or anything that is law-based, right? There's going to be some expectations. There's going to be some, especially in many parts of the world, when you marry a woman, there are things like dowries. There are things like, there are expectations from family members. There's all kinds of cultural context that you're going into that you really need to study. And as someone who has been abroad and lived abroad with people, I lived in Taiwan when I was 17 for 9 months, and I lived with people, being in relationship or marriage with someone from a different culture it can be such a powerful transformational experience. But if you're not willing to grow in your own country, you're definitely not willing to grow with a woman from a different country. Because learning different cultures and customs is ego disruptive. You have to change. You have to do things differently. You have to be willing to give certain things up that you may have been accustomed to. And frankly, men in the US are pretty entitled. Let's just be honest. Women are entitled too. It's a cultural thing. And so, though I am so supportive of you just doing whatever you want to do, date whoever you want, you cannot escape your own patterns of behavior and your own dynamics in relationship by going abroad. You just can't. And even the Drizzle of Oz himself, I see him sort of going throughout the globe, right? And he said he can, date whoever he wants, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's happy, right? You can have all the money in the world to date whoever you want, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're happy. So to the passport bros, your karma is your karma, no matter where you are in the world, but I support you doing whatever you want to do. And if you do want to work on your relationship patterns, I have a class going on the 27th. I'd love for you to come. The link is in my bio. It's called Whole Men's Masterclass. See you there.
The outrage gets disguised as concern. Why won't men grow up? Translation: why won't they sign up for a deal that benefits everyone but them? When men stop seeing marriage as a reward and start viewing it as a risk assessment, opting out isn't immaturity, it's due diligence.
In which I put out my theory that the majority, or at least most men that are single, are not as lonely as a lot of individuals out there would like us to believe. In fact, from the majority of the comments from men, most men have actually found it rather peaceful being single. And this seemed to upset some individuals, and by some I mean some women, some of whom left some very disparaging comments in regards to what they thought of me. But it doesn't matter what they think of me. What I want to know is, why would some women get upset that men are more happy single than they were in relationships? Because I think we all know that sometimes it's worse to be in a relationship with someone that doesn't appreciate you than to be single and be by yourself, where you don't have to worry about impressing anyone or worrying about what they're doing. So why would some be upset about what the guys were saying? Seems rather funny, doesn't it?
Okay, I am the problem.
Oh, good. Maybe this is a sign that some personal accountability is actually being taken.
I went on a date with this guy.
Okay, go on.
What really stings is that these men aren't bitter or angry. They're calm, busy, focused, unavailable. You can't shame a man who doesn't feel incomplete alone. You can't pressure someone who no longer fears being single. And nothing unsettles entitlement more than realizing the people you assumed would cave never planned to.
A man is never truly single, not by choice.
Is that so?
It can be he will be in some sort of situationship or talking to someone, hooking up with someone, or like trying to take someone out. And if he's not, he's going to be actively on the hunt, actively trying to pursue someone and get someone. That's just the way they are.
Is it really?
They're never single the way that women are single. Like, girls will be single as in they haven't talked to anyone in like a year and they're like in their celibate era. But that's not a thing for guys.
Oh, my goodness.
That's called a dry spell, and it's something that needs to be fixed ASAP unless they're like heartbroken or something. But they're never truly single. So what does this mean for you?
Well, let's hear it. Pretty much everything that one has said about men being single has been wrong so far, so I can't wait to hear the next part.
This means that if you meet a mysterious, attractive man because he's good looking and he pulled your attention, he's probably got some other sort of strings attached to other people out there.
Or he's actually single and plans on staying that way. Because contrary to what some would have you believe, there are men out there, quite a few actually, that are single by choice, and they would happily like to stay that way.
What makes it unbearable isn't that men chose bachelorhood, it's that they did it without resentment. No bitterness, no revenge arc, no public meltdowns. Just men quietly optimizing their lives and realizing that solitude, when chosen, feels better than obligation disguised as love. That calm confidence is infuriating to people who relied on male fear of being alone as leverage.
What do you think about the men who choose to remain bachelors?
It's funny because I probably have that mindset this day and age. I just turned 44 today. Today is my birthday. But when I was in my early 20s, I thought about marriage and settling down. But now it's like the bachelor life is better. You know, people out here getting married and getting divorced a couple months later. So until you find true love and happiness, there's nothing wrong with being a bachelor.
If you've got a little black book of 3, 4, 5, 6 women that you can call, take care of everything you need on that Friday. Maybe you have one that dresses up nice and comes to the company picnic with you. Maybe you've got one that's just down and dirty and shows up in a high heels and a trench coat. Why would you give that up for marriage when you're going to get divorced? She's going to take the kids. She's going to take your money. And she's going to destroy you. There is no net benefit today for men to get married.
Western men don't want equals. They want overworked cool girls. She has to come independent, never his burden, until he needs her to give it all up. Jobs, plans, hobbies, and call that love. She has to speak up at work, but never say no to his mama. And God forbid she's not domestic. Is she even a woman if she doesn't cook or clean? Western men aren't better. Stop falling for the propaganda.
Bachelor men aren't lost or avoiding responsibility. They're just no longer rushing into roles where they're expected to give more, tolerate more, and receive less, while being told to smile about it. When the reward is stress, scrutiny, and shrinking respect, opting out isn't rebellion, it's logic.
It's Valentine's Day, and 70% of men are choosing to stay single. And I don't even blame them, and this shouldn't be a shock to anybody. Dating in this generation is so impossible, and I can talk about it for literally days. It feels like every single woman in this generation is either a gold digger or a bop or both. And so yeah, a lot of men are saying, we choose to be single, we're not gonna deal with this anymore, and I get it. I wouldn't either. That sounds awful. I just saw someone say something today about how I would rather be single than settle. And yeah, me too. I get it. That's me too. But it's crazy because you'll see women come online and be like, men are so sad and they're so single and they're so alone, but not me. I'm having a good time, just the men are having a bad time. And it's like, girl, be so serious for 2 minutes. Anyway, so happy Valentine's Day to all the singles out there. We see each other. We're right there.
And the loudest irony? These men didn't become antisocial. They still have friends, purpose, discipline, and goals. They just stopped centering women in every decision. Once men realized companionship should add peace, not replace it, the pressure vanished. Scarcity mindset died. Standards appeared.
Men in your 20s, avoid getting a girlfriend unless you meet a unicorn that alters your life. Staying single is a competitive advantage to make you more successful, save money, and network and meet more people. Not only that, a relationship is a job in itself, and you're dealing with someone's emotions, traumas, and different things that happen. While there's a lot of great benefits to being in a relationship, unless it's a person you're meant to be with, avoid it at all costs. Dating itself, depending on how much you make and where you live, costs $30,000 to $50,000 a year. And for anybody that listens that makes real money and has a nice lifestyle and you have to double that, the costs are sometimes more than $100K. When you're building from scratch and trying to figure out life, you do not need to have to answer to someone. You don't have to tell people where you are. You need to conserve that energy and move fast. Date women, have fun, but don't make it serious and focus on developing yourself. And when you're at your peak in your 30s, find the right.
So now the narrative shifts from men need women to men are broken for not needing us. Because when men are comfortable alone, the fear tactics stop working. And nothing unsettles a system built on male compliance more than men who are fulfilled, unavailable, and completely unbothered by the threat of being single forever.
What makes dating tough here for Western women?
It's, wow. I've been here how long? And I am still single. And probably will remain that way for all of eternity. I literally had to talk to my mom. She's like, so what are we doing? What's happening? Am I getting grandkids? I'm like, probably not, but I'm happy.
I see a lot fewer Western women living here long-term like us. And in my opinion, one of the big issues is dating and falling in love, getting married in Japan. What's your experience been?
Please cut to a clip of me crying. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's a struggle for most women coming here. It's just like even the way that they date is so different from Western society.
What's different?
One of my friends went on a date, and by the second date, she did not know that he was like, yeah, we're boyfriend, girlfriend. She had no idea. She was like, what are you talking about? We just went on a date. And he's like, no, you're my girlfriend. Like, that's what we're doing here.
They want to commit earlier.
I think it definitely depends on the type of Western woman. Like for me, as an African American woman, I can't think of any other demographic other than a Japanese man that is more different. Like we are very, very different. The build is also not my type. Usually I think I like a man to be bigger than me, and most of the men are not bigger than me. Yeah, a little bit more assertive and a little bit more muscle.
Men didn't reject love. They rejected bad terms. And once they tasted peace, they stopped negotiating.
Men stopped playing by the rules. And now everyone's freaking out. Let's break down why silence has become the loudest move.